So y'all give it up for Miss Monica Marie. Y'all give it up for her.
The theme is on purpose. And I know a lot of people are big on purpose, and that's an awesome thing because we all were born with a purpose, for a purpose, on purpose. That's right. Sometimes when you walk into your purpose and into your destiny, there's some things that you have to let go. You know, just real talk. Some things you can't hold on to and move into what God desires or has for you. So this first piece is entitled Past Tense. It's entitled Past Tense, and you guys are gonna, you'll get it. Amen. Amen. He impressed my intellect with concepts and precepts that was so smooth that he bypassed my frontal lobe. His poison was deposited deep into my chest. He caused my defense to stand at ease. He made it easy to believe every word he said. It was easier to just believe every word he said seemed to be stuck in my head like mental collapse. Playing Jenga with my head as he removed my foundation and replaced it with his instead. I was his project. He was my demolition man. And he broke me down in ways that I can't explain. His verbal became abusive, but I was so addicted to the pain that I allowed him into my brain, and I allowed him to claim me as his gain. And it doesn't even matter what he said the first time we met, because I was the one who had opened up and entertained. I used to hold the controller, but he switched the channels, and then he programmed me to be controlled remotely. No batteries required. He rewired me with his words. He said that it was easy once he got me to believe every word he said. He said it was easy. I was easy. So easy to believe that I allowed my mental to be hijacked by imaginary potential. Imagine that. He was the first man to ever call me beautiful. And then his big firm hands offered a level of security that I had always longed for. He even protected my breath from escaping my lungs that night. His big firm hands found vengeance wrapped around my neck. I was more afraid of him leaving me than I leaving this earth realm. Without him, I couldn't make it. Without him, I couldn't do anything right. Without him, I was nothing. A nobody, an empty body seeking for his words to give me life, but he could never give me life. He could only take it. And I took him, taking it from me over and over and over. I needed an intervention, but my voice had been drowned out by so many attempts at crying wolf while I still kept crying after the wolf. I said I needed an intervention, but my voice had been drowned out by so many attempts at crying wolf while I, Little Red, still kept crying after the wolf. Somebody grabbed the remote and switched the channels. It's like I'm stuck in these reruns. It's the same story. I know how it ends, but I always sit still, hoping that the ending changes for the better. Have you ever gotten stuck in the reruns? Revisiting bad scenes to rewind and revisit those bad scenes to rewind and pause. Y'all, please stop visiting these bad scenes. I know it's not always easy to flip the channels, but you know just as well as any that you're wasting your entire lifetime on this silly subscription disguised as love. I need you to cancel your subscription. Call retention, and yes, go get your money back, because real love wouldn't treat you like that. No, real love wouldn't talk to you like that, and real love wouldn't snatch you up like that, and real love wouldn't smack you around, leave you bruised, and have you carrying the blame as if it was really your fault like that. I need you to grab the reins of this life and drive straight through every stop sign and every yellow light and every do not enter, because you should dare not enter into this new season carrying the same baggage of inferiority that's held you down for years, if not centuries. So turn up the bass to that. Turn up the bass and then tune out every thought that comes to knock against your consciousness, trying to get you to turn back. I need you to lock it out. Yes, lock it out and then run towards greater as if your life depends on it, because it does. I need you to run towards greater like a madman as if your life depends on it, and realize that what you run after now does affect the rest of your entire life. And you, sweetheart, you really can't afford to pay full price for discounted, out-of-date, marked down t-shirts. It's not worth it. I'm telling you, it's not even worth it. For me, as for me, I do desire more. He had this funky way of blocking out the sun, but I can see clearly now the jerk is gone. My prayer is that I stay strong long enough to keep him going for good. My prayer for you is that you would stay strong long enough to keep him or her or that thing gone, so gone for good. He used to love me easy. He said that it was easy. I was easy. And I was easy. I was. Past tense. Staying on theme, leaving some things behind. Let go. Let go. This next piece, and my final piece for this evening, is called Questions and Answer. Questions plural, answer singular. I questioned her ability to love me. A broken vessel, barely strong enough to bear a few drops of life. She was my necessity, but she was leaky. Sometimes she loved me, sometimes she loved me not. Most times not, and so I trekked life thirsty, strangely dehydrated, and yet still drowning in my desire for her to notice me a little more than she noticed the needle, or the bottle, or that faint leftover line of dope that stayed on my dresser. She was too selfish to ever shake me. I was never asleep. I had too many questions to sleep. I questioned my sanity in loving her. Was I foolish for always reaching out, for always being there to pick her up when she had done absolutely nothing for me? I mean, even my birth was a cover-up for a failed, botched attempt to abort me. How do I know, you ask? It's because I found the receipt hidden behind what society calls a birth certificate, but what did my life actually certify? See, I fought preachers all of my life trying to get me born again. Tell me, how do you explain the new birth to someone who's always questioned their existence in the first place? I questioned my ability to love. And I couldn't stand those fancy wall painting pictures in hallways screaming, live, laugh, love. You've seen them. I would look at them only long enough for my weary eyes to whisper how. Somebody tell me how. See, I genetically inherited her frail excuse for a woman. And the same chains that held Mama bound were the only chains that held me together. I was handcuffed for prison and protection, held captive by the massive loads of unanswered questions until I began to question my questions. And then I began to erase periods of periods while calmly pausing at each comma, at each corner. I began to define new meanings while allowing the occasional onomatopoeia to shatter glass ceilings. I began sealing my wounds with military medical grade words. Condemning condemnation. Check that. I said condemning condemnation. Using reverse keys to unlock me and then fortify me as myself and not her. I used reverse keys to unlock me and then fortify me as myself and not her. I am not her. I am not even her mistakes. For years, I questioned my willingness to ever be able to let go. I questioned my willingness to ever be able to forgive the one who used my innocence to pay for her recreational fixes. Listen, I questioned whether I would ever be able to stand tall, look myself in the mirror, and just smile. For years, I questioned whether I would ever be able to let this thing go. My resolve is that may the rest of my actions for the rest of my life forever